But Dad, isn't it time for illegal ham in the face? But bro, where's the banjo?
Some Cleveland sports shows try to give you hot takes, but only one can give you a big old piece of hot ham. Welcome to Illegal Ham to the Face. Talking all Cleveland sports. And don't forget our Fat Boy Tuesday, where we also ham it up with some fun food topics. Without further ado, let's serve up some ham. Here are the Ham Boys, Fatty, and Big Bry.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Legal Ham to the Face. I am Fatty. Brian will be here in just a second. He's getting his phone set up. I just want to apologize to everybody last week with me and Brian being under the weather. It was definitely not a good week. As you can still hear, we're both, when Brian gets on here, he's kind of congested too. So if we start barking and coughing and everything else, just bear with us. It was definitely not a fun time here. We had myself and my kids were all sick, and Bri called me Thursday night about an hour before the show started, and he sounded like hell, and I was not feeling the greatest. So the great thing is, though, is we didn't have to talk about Seattle and what a horrible loss that was, even though Bri and I both picked it to lose. And Bri's here. What's going on, big fella?
Hey, man.
Big Bri fail for being a weak scum fan. Oh, boy. Here we go.
We can get into that. I would love to. I don't know how much people want to hear my opinions on it, but
so tonight, guys, we will dive into a little bit about the Seahawks game. We won't get into it much. Seems how we're kind of a week ahead. We'll get into the game against Arizona. We'll look ahead to the Ravens. We also got to talk a little bit of Cavs tonight with them getting a little hot right now. Also got to talk a little guards with dare I say, a new manager, new sheriff's in town here in Cleveland, Bri. We'll talk about that a little bit. Fat Boy Tuesday, we're going to recap Halloween. And then there at the end, Bri, we're going to do our top 3 costumes that we've seen this year. And I got 2 of them here at my house, which I thought was hilarious because I'm definitely raising a bunch of nerds, but I'm okay with that, Bri. I love them.
Oh, I can't wait to hear what they dressed up as this year. I don't think I saw any pictures.
It was magical. It was definitely magical. But our show is always brought to you by hkeehl and Lake Erie APA. Can't thank Harold enough for everything he's done for us in the show, especially the fantasy football stuff. And then also City Dogs Cleveland, which we will be getting into trivia tonight. We do have a new dog to add to the list, and she'll be coming up here a little bit later. Bri's got trivia tonight as we start back up on our trivia train. And then, like I said, we're going to be talking Browns, a little heavy on Browns with everything going on with Seattle, with Arizona, looking ahead to the Ravens, like I said. And what better way to get the show started? Bri, how are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm feeling better. Still got a couple lingering symptoms, but finally tested negative for the COVID today. So good to go. Good to return back to work. So hopefully keep progressing, get rid of this cough, and moving forward to the weekend.
Talk about a baseball bat hitting you. Man, oh man. I was the same way Thursday, Bri. It just it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like I couldn't stop coughing. My throat was just raw. I got home and you and I talked that night and you're like, if we do it, I can only do it for a little bit. I'm like, but I don't know if I can do it. I was like, but the great thing is we got great people here that watch us, and we can't thank you guys enough for, waiting a week for us to get back in the saddle, like I said, and just having some fun. So here we are. We're not completely 100%, but you're going to get about a good, 70% out of Fatty and about 85 out of Bri?
Yeah, I'd say 85, 90. Feeling good. Had it been a win against Seattle, I'd have found a way to pull through. Tell you that much.
It should have been a win against Seattle. We'll talk about that. I'm not blaming anybody, but man, that one hurt, Brian. You and I were talking through that too, just texting back and forth through that game, and it was like, come on. Yes, Justin, you are pretty great. I do have to give you credit. You are pretty great. give us all the Bry fails and the Fatty fails and everything else, and little nuggets here that I get to throw at Bry when his team cheats too much, and it's fine. I mean, if that's the only way you can get to the college football playoffs, I get it. It's fine.
The issue I have isn't sign stealing in general cheating? So
yeah,
they're gonna ding us for cheating at cheating. I mean, as far as I know, everyone steals signs. And if the NCAA had a real problem with it, do you ever hear about sign stealing in NFL? I don't. You know why I don't hear about them? Because they have radios in their helmets. Because the offensive coordinators don't need signs to say, "Hey, do this play." They just say, "Hey, run play number 48" to the guy, and he says, "Oh, okay."
Didn't Belichick get in trouble for that though?
Yeah, well, I mean, Spygate was a big thing, and I really can't tell you honestly what it was about, but yeah, Spygate was a big thing. I don't know. I mean, I understand why Ohio State fans think it's a big deal, and maybe if you hate Michigan, you probably think it's a big deal, but you can't really convince me that Oklahoma fans and Ole Miss fans and UCLA fans really care about it. It's weird to me that the media is making it such a big. I mean, it's the lead story on every single sports center for the last 2 weeks, and I don't know. So they steal signs. Are they the only people that steal signs? I don't think so. They just got caught. They just got caught doing something they shouldn't. So yeah, whatever. I really don't care. I mean, and still, it starts affecting their eligibility for bowls this year, which I don't think it will. I don't really care. Take the scholarships away, whatever.
And look at James even chiming in. James, that's a low blow, but I like it. He goes, look at that. Even the Michigan player was involved with the Pats too. Look at that. That's crazy. That just it transfers over from Michigan to the Patriots with Deflategate and Spygate and just geez.
Well, and people want to liken it to what the Astros did, and I've never played professional football, college football, professional baseball, whatever. I've never, not even close. Haven't even sniffed it. Somebody who has played both professional football and professional baseball, Deion Sanders, came out and said he doesn't have a dog in the fight. He doesn't care. He came out and said it's nothing like stealing signs in baseball because you could know the play and you still have to stop it. So, I mean, it just depends on your perspective. I understand why Ohio State fans want to make a big deal out of it. You've lost 2 years in a row to Michigan, so you need an excuse or you need a reason why this happened. So you point to that. And if I was a Michigan fan and Ohio State was being accused of this stuff, I would probably jump on the bandwagon too and say this is a giant deal and it's a huge thing and that's the only reason you beat us.
You already did jump on that bandwagon when we sold the gold pants.
Right.
You were all over that. You're like, get Tressel out of there. He got no control.
Right. And I was like, get Tressel out of there. He's been kicking our butt for a decade. Thank God he was out. And, they fired him and, I guess it happened. And Harbaugh's gone after this. That's hurrah. So whatever. Let him deal with it. I don't lose sleep over it.
Welcome to Legal Ham to the Face, by the way. As we
I told you I didn't want to get into it, but
football talk right here out of the gate, bro.
I figured it was inevitable. It was going to come up with with you and me, and yeah, I mean, we'll see.
More. I mean, we got a couple weeks until the game, and we'll get into it more then.
Yep, we'll see if it matters. Michigan has a test this week against Penn State, and then their schedule finally starts getting hard. So yeah. They're not going to be able to steal signs anymore. So if they fall on their face and go 0-3, then you'll know maybe it might have had something to do with it.
Well, we'll find out here soon enough, buddy. Let's dive into Bry. I'm not even going to do shout outs because we got enough stuff going on. And plus, both you and I were sick.
Let me shout out the Medina Bees for beating Wadsworth Grizzlies real quick. So
nice. They
got a rematch against Cleveland Heights this week, and I think the winner gets the unfortunate task of taking on St. Ed's, go to state or something like that. So, yeah. Anytime you can knock down Wadsworth, beat them the second time this year, it was a happy time for me.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can really shout out is NyQuil. Drinking a bottle of it a night and just passing out.
Coors Light do the same job.
Well, sort of. You got to put liquor in there with it, though. You got to break the fever, Bry.
Oh boy.
You can't break the fever with just beer, buddy. You got to throw in some wild turkey in there. Either wild turkey or a little 151. And that will just knock you right out right there. That'll make you just start screaming.
I don't think I've had 151 since I turned 21 years old. Now, when you're a broke college kid and you can only afford one bottle of liquor, you want to get the most bang for your buck. But that stuff is pure gasoline.
All right. So now that we're on the topic, we're going to do a little early Fat Boy Tuesday. Brian, like when you're sick, all right, we're going to get into this because when you're sick, like what's your go-to thing like when you're sick? Like, do you got like a tea
food
or food or anything of that nature? Like when you're sick, are you kind of one of those people that said, just keep the food away from me? I don't feel good. Nothing tastes right. What are you at?
No, honestly, thank goodness, knock on wood, I don't get sick very often. But in this time, I was home alone. My wife went and stayed with my mom and quarantined with her, and I'm just there left to go through the fridge and the freezer and see what we have. And honestly, since it was COVID, I lost my taste, my smell even more than usual. So I'd be like, okay, that sounds good. Let me try that. No, I can't really taste it. And so, yeah, I can't tell you one thing. It's just the normal pizza. Pizza's the answer for every food.
Justin said hot toddy. I mean, if I really do have to give a shout out to anything in Bry, I don't think you've ever had it. If you get a chance to, go to Starbucks and get a thing called medicine ball. It's not on their regular menu. It's a specialty drink they make. And what it is it's two different kind of teas, a little bit of honey, and steamed lemonade all in a mixture. So it's almost like an Arnold Palmer, but a hot Arnold Palmer. And I love it. My wife got me hooked on it. So anytime I'm feeling sick, I go straight to Starbucks and get me a medicine ball first thing in the morning. And then that kind of opens everything up and clears you out a little bit. But yeah, if you get a chance to try it out, and that's everybody watching, please try it out, because I was kind of skeptical when my wife's like, she goes, I'll get you a medicine ball. I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, just try it. And
was she the one that introduced you to it?
Yeah, she's the one that introduced it to me.
I've never heard of that. Yeah.
I'll do it. She goes, it's not on the menu. You got to ask for it by name. And if they have the stuff, they'll make it. So I was like, all right, Let's do it.
I'll have to remember that.
Hot Palmer sounds pretty good. Yes, it does.
Agreed.
It wasn't bad. All right. Let's get back on track, Brian. Let's get into our let's do our trivia. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Is brought to you by City Dogs Cleveland. And Brian, we have a new puppy tonight. Let me bring her up. It is a her, and her name is Miss Ohio. Can't go wrong with Miss Ohio. All right, let me find pictures of this beautiful puppy. Here's one of them right there. She is a playful pup,
wow.
Brian. Let's see here. I gotta read down. She is fabulous, friendly lady who's a delight to have out on town, and she knows how to be a model and pose for pictures. As you see in every picture that they took of her, she is always posing. She's a great mix of queenly manners and delightful silliness. She's a lot of fun with toys. She will roll and stretch out along and sploot and enjoy them. She is total ham for belly rubs and snuggle time. Miss Ohio is well-rounded and walks on a leash and keeps her kennel tidy. She is a great gal. She's estimated to be 5 years old and weighs 52 pounds. So there is Miss Ohio. Please go to City Dogs Cleveland. And if you are interested, please adopt her. Look at it, just rolling around downtown, just like nothing's happening. Just letting it all hang out. Went to the film festival to check out probably a Halloween movie. And then here is some of the volunteers for Friends of City Dogs with her in the back. What a beautiful girl. I do have some news from City Dogs Bride. They finished third in their Embrace Challenge. I believe they raised $12,000 in their Embrace Challenge. And then they got another thing coming up here. And I got to bring it up because I got it on. It's if you want to buy some a holiday merch pop-up shop, is going to be in Lakewood, 1422 Hopkins Avenue in Lakewood, this Friday and Saturday. Friday from 4 to 8 p.m. and Saturday from 10 to 3 p.m. And they're going to have a whole bunch of merch shops. And if you want to donate and stuff like that, please go out there. And there will also be some special vendors there too. So please go out and hang out with them and buy some City Dog merch, Bri.
Yeah, one of my new favorite shirts. Absolutely.
All right. Well, Bri, what's trivia for today, bud?
Oh, I got a good one. So it's a fun one, but you won't find out why it's a fun one till later. So the question is NFL trivia. It's for receivers. It's for guys over 40 years old. So I'm looking for the player who has the most receiving yards after turning 40 years old.
After turning 40?
Yep, all time in the NFL.
Dude, that's crazy.
And I'll explain later why it's such a fun one. So that, like, the initial trivia, I'm pretty sure is gettable. But then there's like a secondary trivia that's kind of a lot of fun.
All right, I can dig it. I mean, most of the wide receivers really don't last until 40, Bryce. So I mean,
no, they do not. As once you find out later, there's not many.
Okay, all right. Well, now that Chris is here, we get to bump the music, bro. You ready for some Cleveland headlines?
Mm-hmm.
Let's first dive into your Cleveland headlines. Your Cleveland Guardians have hired their new manager for next year. I believe he is 38-year-old Stephen Vaught is going to be the new skipper. He spent 1 year in Seattle, and most people know him for his walk-off homer for his last at-bat with his kids, introducing him as he was coming up to the plate. And Brian, I don't know if you saw that clip or not, but it's amazing.
Mm-mm.
His kids, they did his walk-up music, and his kids said, next up to the plate, our dad, Stephen Vaught, and he hit a home run, a walk-off homer. So how can you not go out on top with that one? But it looks like they definitely went young on this one, and young to grow with the young team they have. And Brian, now that we're talking a little bit of baseball, and we'll get your thoughts on Vaught, we definitely had the Texas Rangers win the World Series. That is also news. And Bri, now I'm on board with you. After watching the Texas Rangers win the World Series, burn the ship to the ground. Just burn it to the ground. I mean, you have the pitching and everything else. But let's get your thoughts on Stephen Vaught and about the Rangers. Because first, man, I didn't want to agree with you about burning it to the ground. But that's the best way to do it. It just sucks.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's a sure thing or anything like that. I'm just saying, clearly I'm not the only person that's noticed it. There's been many people to bring it up that, that's kind of the trend in baseball, is to just completely commit to the tank, commit to the suck, and load up on prospects, especially for these mid-market teams, and go all in. And it seemed to work out for the Braves and the Astros. Even they've had a dynasty, but they're a larger market than Cleveland is. But now also for the Rangers. So it doesn't guarantee anything, but what it does guarantee you is if you commit to it, you're going to be miserable. You're going to be a miserable fan for 3, 4, maybe 5 years before you compete for anything. So, this move, the only thing I know about him is it's Vogt. I believe his name. I learned today his name is pronounced Vogt, even though you're right, it's spelled like bot. But we'll see. Maybe I'm
Sounds like
wrong
a
on that
French
too.
Canadian name.
I thought it was like Voight, like John Voight or something myself. But
There's got to be another vowel in there for that one.
apparently, and I guess he was a catcher for the Athletics, and he was a all-star a couple years. I've never heard of the guy as a player or a coach. So, but yes, going with him leads me to believe that you're not necessarily all in to win right now, and that's why you don't pay a council what he got in the richest deal ever. So go with the young guy, let him take some bumps these first few years, and start to build relationships with these young players, and hopefully in 4 or 5 years we can compete for something. So that's what it looks like to me. Unfortunately, it might be a rough couple years for the Indians or the Guardians, but they've given us a lot of entertainment over the last several years. But I'd rather have a 5, 6, 7 year plan and just stay in purgatory and finish with 80 wins for the next 5, 6 years, and not really compete for anything. So we'll see. It's not a perfect science, but that's kind of what this move says to me.
Yeah, and the great thing is though is Tito's really he's done management, but he's not moving on from the organization. He's going to be behind the scenes, kind of helping out and doing things. So it's kind of nice having Tito still stick around here.
Yeah, and it sounds like we're going to have Alomar and Willis sticking around too. So maybe that played into the decision as well to hire Vogt. Is he's a guy that is willing to keep on these coaches that have been here for a while.
Now, Brian, let's be real about this. How the hell do you think they could have brought in counsel after the shit he did to us in the World Series? Like, I'm being serious. Like, I still got a beef with that guy.
Yeah, I'm guessing it was more about money. But yeah, certainly the fans that remember, was that 97 with Florida?
Yes.
I kind of, to be honest, I forgot about that. I forgot that connection as well. But yeah, after seeing what he got, there's no way we could compete with that.
We need our stat guy, Justin. I know you're taking a coffee break right now. Who was the guy that was at bat that did the looper in there that had the weirdest batting?
Renteria, was it?
No,
Edgar Renteria?
No, it wasn't Renteria. He had it was like Luis Garcia or something of that nature. I can't think of his freaking name.
Gonzalez was for the Diamondbacks.
He had the weirdest stance ever. Like his whole right leg was out of the batter's box, and he was a lefty. We'll find it. Justin or Chris will find it. Let us know.
Yeah.
All right. So we move on to the Cavs, Bri. We'll see what happens with the Guardians this year. We're too far away from baseball. It's November. I mean, let's be honest. But Cavs basketball is going on. We did get some breaking news that Myles Garrett is now part owner of your Cleveland Cavaliers. Minority share. Also, Cavs are getting a little hot right now. Donovan Mitchell is probably, I think he's the leading scorer in the NBA right now.
Wow, really?
I think so. He's averaging serious points right now. Cool. And they just beat the Golden State Warriors last night, Brian, which, anytime you can beat the Warriors here and send Draymond home crying, it makes me feel so much better.
Yeah, it's I'm with you. I still can't stand those guys. I still can't stand Curry and how he's still America's sweetheart and never does anything wrong and blah blah blah. We've heard it for years now. But yeah, this in-season tournament thing, we'll see how that goes. I don't really understand the scheduling of the games. Like, why are we playing Golden State twice when they're in the Western Conference? And you'd think if they're going to play these round robin games, you would play guys in your own pool. That's kind of what round robin is. But yeah, for some reason we play Golden State twice.
I just don't even understand the whole in-season tournament. Like, why? Like, do they get an advantage for the actual like playoffs later on?
There's some money involved, but to these guys, it doesn't matter. What it is they're trying to incentivize guys to play and actually care about games in November and December, which in theory is a good way to do it, but in reality, they don't care. They would rather sit and play 50 games a year.
If that's the case, cut it from 82 down to 50, like you said, 50 or 60, and just let them play.
Too much money to be made. Nope. They will never, ever cut it from 82. No way. Not a chance.
James asked if he could add you on Facebook. Yeah, you can go ahead and add Brian on Facebook.
Sure. Absolutely. I'll look for it.
As we're both coughing up right now. He also said winter needs to leave Ohio already. By the way, next Cleveland headline.
Winter. Gotcha.
It did snow here in Cleveland, by the way. We had to shovel snow in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Out at work, Brian, we got about 4.5, maybe 5 inches.
And we got like 3 down here on Wednesday morning last week too.
Yeah, so even though we're warming back up, Mother Nature is making it cruel on Halloween of, hey, we're going to snow for you and you're going to enjoy it. So that was a fun wake up that morning, Brian. People are just, they can't drive. They just can't drive in snow. I don't know what it is about this place.
Only get worse. So we've only had a couple bad days in the last year, and so people will definitely forget how to drive in this stuff. So I just hope it's not too bad. I heard something about a super El Nino or something this winter. I don't really know
whatever the hell that means. Nobody knows what that means.
I don't know if that means it's going to be snowy or warm.
It's supposed to be like technically when we get an El Nino, we're supposed to be dry because everything's moving south. But who knows? Who knows, Brian?
Whenever I hear El Nino, I think of Chris Farley doing his Saturday Night Live.
El Nino.
Yeah. All other tropical storms bow before El Nino.
Didn't he have the maracas?
Classic. Yeah. Yo soy El Nino.
Oh, there's our Saturday Night Live. See, we're just everywhere tonight.
Oh, they're. I mean, I don't know what it is now, but I don't think anything will top the 90s ones.
90s and early 2000s with like Justin Timberlake and Jimmy Fallon. That was pretty good too.
Oh, Will Ferrell for sure.
Oh, yeah. All right. Brian, let's dive into the Browns, buddy. We're here. Let's talk Browns. Let's go back to Seattle. We missed a week, obviously, because we were off. Both you and I predicted that the Browns would lose.
Mm-hmm.
I think you were close to spiking it right on the head. Didn't you pick like 23-20?
I think I had 27-20, and I think you had. Oh shoot!
I think 24-17.
Yeah, we were both kind of in the neighborhood.
It's always a tough task to go out to Seattle. That fan base is rabid. You had it in check, Bry. A lot of things that were brought up were about the 3rd down and 3 call right there before the 2-minute warning. But, I can't fault the team. I can't fault the defense for giving up that late touchdown. They played great all the way up until then. I mean, when you and I started watching, we thought it was going to be a boat race right out of the gate. Mm-hmm. And then everybody kind of settled in and did. But, it's just, it sucks because we want them to win, Bry, but we also know where they're at right now. With PJ Walker, you're limited to what you're going to do at quarterback in that game. No matter what happened, especially even with the running backs the way they were. But, when you're at that point in time, your defense was doing great. Just, you can't throw an interception there, Bry, and you can't. Like, that was the thing that killed him, I think, just the turnovers that game. You turned the ball over too many times that game, and it finally just came back to bite you in the ass. What do you think?
Yeah, the reason I picked against them is not because I thought, for sure Seattle's a better team. It's just the inner Browns fan in me just said, how lucky can we get? for lack of a better term, lucky. I'm sure the players might take offense to that, but as a fan, like you're like, okay, we got pretty fortunate in the Niners game. We got pretty fortunate in the Indianapolis game with some late calls. It's like eventually, I don't see us winning 3 in a row. Like eventually, we're not the Steelers here. As much as I would like to be, the Steelers just get the luck every single week, and we saw it again this past week with the Titans, to where you're not playing as good as your opponent, but somehow you find a way to win it at the end. So I started to buy in a little bit, but then push comes to shove. At the end of the game, they made plays and they marched right down on our defense and made it look pretty easy. So. Even though PJ Walker threw the interception, they still had 50, 55 yards to go. And the defense didn't really put up much of a fight there. So, unfortunately, I know we want to throw bouquets at them for this past week against the Cardinals, but right now it seems like I still have that that Seattle game in my head, and maybe a couple of the games, and it's like the San Francisco game. You have to finish these games off. We've had issues starting slow and ending running out of gas or something like that, because the Niners and Seattle march right down on your defense, even though they struggled many drives leading up to that final drive when they absolutely had to have it. They made plays and they got yards on your defense. So it's a little concerning. But yeah, we'll see how they go against this week.
Yeah. And, you wish you would have pulled that one off. Good night, James. Thank you for joining us, bud. Appreciate
See you, James.
it.
Appreciate you.
And Justin got his one Watson in right now. So you got one in. I'll let you you're allowed one more.
I didn't see what did he say?
He said Walker greater than Massage Boy.
Oh,
it's understandable. I get people are like that right now, Bri.
I mean, right. Some people have made up their mind, and they're just not going to root for him. I saw our boy Kev posting on social media this and that about this terrible quarterback, and then following it up with how great Baker Mayfield was with his throw on Sunday. And it's like, I feel bad for those people. I'm a Browns fan. I'm going to root for the Browns. I'm not going to root against their probably most important player. But, if you don't like Deshaun Watson, you don't have to root for the Browns. You can go root for somebody else. I mean, I guess I struggle to understand how you could root against the quarterback and root for the team.
Bri, it's hard. It's just all right. We're diving into it, Bri.
Yeah,
we're okay. And I know you don't want to hear the money and everything else. I think what everybody was expecting to get out of Deshaun Watson was 5 years ago. Deshaun Watson, he's not that player right now, and I don't know if he'll ever be that player again.
Right now. See, maybe that's where you and I don't think just because he's struggling now, that's how he's going to be for the rest of his tenure as a Brown.
Okay, no, I'm not saying that, but we haven't seen it though, Bri. We haven't really seen it.
But if you look at his last 2 games, here we go. Here's his stats for the last 2. Now, if you want to include
let's do the
Indianapolis game, Arizona and Arizona 219, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So his last 2 games that he started and completed, taking the Indianapolis game out of it because he's clearly wasn't right.
Yeah, no, okay.
So 508 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Okay, now let's go back to this Arizona game. Okay, it's his first game back. He's a little rusty. I get that.
Sure.
Take his name off of it. 19 for 30, 219 and a touchdown.
2 touchdowns.
What does that sound like to you? 2 touchdowns. What does that sound like to you? Sounds like a Baker Mayfield game.
Yeah, but not necessarily a bad Baker Mayfield game. I mean, you have to.
I understand what you're saying, but Bri, we're not. Everybody's expecting him to have like the 350 and 4 touchdowns and everything else. Right. And I'm just saying, check your expectations right now because he's not there. I'm not saying he can't get there, Bri. I'm not saying that he'll never get there. I'm just saying right now, I don't know if he can get there, for one, because we haven't seen him get there. I'm not saying he's not efficient and he's not doing good, but you traded away all these assets and you paid the guy that much money to throw a Baker Mayfield game out. He just managed the game.
But you also won 27-0. So you didn't, he's not going to put up 450 yards passing when your defense is not giving up any points at all.
I understand that, but you put that defense with Baker Mayfield, would it be the same thing about Baker Mayfield at that point in time?
If Baker Mayfield had this stat line, 219, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and had this defense, he would still be here. There's no doubt about it in my head.
So I mean,
right.
I'm just saying, I'm not trying to say that Deshaun Watson can't get back to form or all this stuff. I'm just saying right now, that's not where he's at. Now, as long as he wins games, fans are going to be okay. And that's the big thing that you got to realize is as long as he wins games. But the shoulder thing with the 5 different diagnoses that it was, and coming back down to earth.
Not his fault at all.
No, it's not his fault at all, but then trying to rush back when he wasn't right.
Okay.
And then
that could be his fault. Sure.
Okay. And then coming back in the Colts game. All right. And then getting right back out. And now he's starting to get right. And I'm just saying, yeah, let him get right. But you had an Arizona team that was, I mean, Brian, let's be honest, that team it's not good. It's not even close to being good. It's almost unwatchable.
No doubt.
Brian,
doubt.
They didn't even cross the 50. They gained a total 58 yards total for the whole game. I mean, you and I could have quarterbacked that team and won.
Oh yeah. Oh,
now
absolutely.
I wouldn't have hit Cooper deep. I don't know if I got that kind of arm strength, Bri, but I am damn sure that I can hit somebody in the helmet 5 yards in front of me and score a touchdown.
Well, yes. Well, and for sure, there's no doubt the game plan was a conservative game plan because Kevin Stefanski's not a moron. He knows that the only way you lose that game is if you have 3, 4, 5 turnovers. That's the only way. Your defense absolutely smothered them. They didn't have a chance at all. So that being said, I mean, you hand it off and you have short passes, and that's what they did, trying to get him in a groove. And he did. He got better as the game went on. But you're still not asking him to do a whole lot. But I also point to, we can go back to the trade deadline and us shipping out DPJ for a 6th-round pick in 7 years or 6 years or however many years it was for absolutely nothing. I brought it up a month and a half ago about comparing our weapons to the Chicago Bears weapons. I think there's no doubt you don't have any weapons on offense other than Amari Cooper and maybe Njoku. I'll give Njoku credit, but other than screen game and catching touchdowns when he's wide open, he hasn't proven to be a steady weapon on offense. So I seriously question moving on from DPJ, because I'm not saying he's great. Don't get me twisted there, but yeah, you have Amari Cooper and you have nothing else on offense right now. So if you want to put that on Deshaun, you can. You have Elijah Moore, who the Jets gave up on, and he still has potential. I believe that. But you have Cedric Tillman, who's playing in his first game. You have, 34-year-old Marquise Goodwin, who's, probably just a gadget guy at this point. Yeah. You have Bell, who might make a catch a game or something like that, but everyone's saying before he came to the league that he's too slow to play in the NFL. So, yeah, I don't know. And then look at our running backs. And again, they knew at the end of the game we were just trying to run out the clock. So, they're stacking the line, and this is probably where a lot of these stats come from. But here's Jerome Ford's stat line: 20 carries, 44 yards, 2.2 yards per carry. Kareem Hunt, 14 carries, 38 yards, 2.7 yards per carry. Strong, 3 carries, 9 yards, 3 yards per carry. So you're averaging 2.5 yards a carry, which is abysmal.
Oh, I know.
So you have 0 running game. So, I mean, I know Deshaun's going to be the lightning rod for everything that goes on with your offense, but you have 0 running game. You hope that one guy can break one run, and Ford has done that, 1 per game or something. But other than that, his other rushes are pretty awful. And then you hope that Kareem Hunt can pick up some short yardage touchdowns or third down situations, but that's about all he's good for at this point. So you don't have much of a running game, and your only weapon in the passing game is Amari Cooper. So, I mean, we can start there. I know everyone wants to put it on Deshaun, but we can start there with our issues on offense. Plus, both your offensive tackles are done for probably the year. There's still hope that Jed Wills can come back, but
Jed Wills is coming back. They said it was an MCL sprain. It's a bad MCL sprain. They put him on injury reserve. So right now, him and Cameron Mitchell are on injury reserve right now. So you're going to need Newsome to come back. Losing Jed Wills definitely, and we all give Jed Wills, and it's some of it's deserved, but Bri, also some of it is we've had Joe Thomas for like 13 years. I mean, it's hard to judge because he has been doing okay and better. Like, he's not great, but he's good. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've had great there for so long. My biggest thing is with the offense, Bri, and I think Arizona played them kind of perfect because they did load the box, and they were going to test Deshaun's arm and if it was healthy or not. They said pretty much right out of the gate, we're going to take away the run, and you're going to have to beat us with a pass, and we're going to have to make sure that you can throw the ball, which is a great game plan for a guy that hasn't thrown the ball in how long. So, I mean, I get that. It just irks me because the expectations. I mean, we're 5-3, and we're like pulling hairs right now to pick apart this team. And I understand with DPJ gone, they weren't going to pay him at the end of the year, Bri. Let's be honest. He wasn't going to be on this team after this year. Right. So they did whatever they could to get a pick out of him, which I get it, even though it's, a 2038 pick, 6th-round pick, or whatever the hell it is. It's just, you're just expecting Deshaun to elevate everybody. And he's elevated one person. Amari Cooper looks freaking great with Deshaun Watson, but everybody else doesn't. And it's like, how can everybody else not look great? And there's a couple times that he dumped some passes down to Ford, which will help out. I'm glad he did a lot of those, but the game plan, like you said, was kind of conservative for him. Didn't want to break him in too much. They did do a couple deep throws, but they wanted to keep everything between 10 and 15 yards. Bubble screens to the tight end, all that stuff. And God, Bri, I got to say it now. Now that we started tight end screens, I got to get off tight end screens, Bri. They scored a touchdown on a tight end screen. They scored 2 touchdowns on a tight end screen. Actually, was it 2 touchdowns or just one? It was one and then a big gain on a tight end screen.
The Njoku touchdown wasn't a screen, but he just went right to the middle of the field and nobody was around him.
Jesus Christ. You know how hard that was for me to swallow that down, Bri? Like, I'm sitting there watching it, and you're like, holy shit, a tight end screen. I'm like, no, flip the table. Don't throw. Oh, shit, he scored. All right. That was a good call. Good call. Talk about a flip-flopper. There it is.
There was a sighting. There was a Jordan Akins sighting, too, this week. For the first time that I can think of. He got some targets. He got 3 targets. He only converted it for 1 catch. But you go back and watch that game. I'm not sitting here and saying Deshaun played A or A plus or, probably even B plus. So he's somewhere B, C area. Because he had some bad throws. But you go back and watch that game. We had how many throws that hit our guys' hands, and they weren't great throws, but they were low or something, maybe a little off target, but they hit their hands. So they're not really doing him any favors at this point. But yeah, you expect your guys to make those throws. It's frustrating to me because I don't see anybody else other than Njoku. He's making some plays. I don't want to take much away from him, but probably half of the plays that he makes are those tight end screens that you love so much. But yeah, it would just be nice to find a way to get Elijah more involved. And I'm not smart enough to know who you want to put the blame on for that. If you want to put it on Deshaun, if you want to put it on Kevin Stefanski, I don't know that. But one thing I'll give Kevin Stefanski this. I saw this stat after the game. Kevin Stefanski, believe it or not, is 18-7 after a loss. 18-7. Now, to put it in perspective, that's third best winning percentage all time after a loss, behind like John Madden and one other guy. So, yeah, give Kevin Stefanski credit. As fans, we're always kind of looking to rip somebody, and it was an easy game. I'm not going to sit here and say that this was a super difficult game. It was almost a boring game to watch. But give him credit. Give these guys credit for executing the plan. And you won freaking 27-0. If you're not happy with a 27-0 win, it was a 13-point spread, so you doubled the spread. Even though it was a giant spread, you doubled it. And we're looking like morons for not taking the under, because should have known that the Browns defense would have held Clayton Tune to pretty much nothing. But yeah, if you can't be happy, a 27-0 victory, maybe go find a different sport or something. You're just kind of, to me, you're just a miserable person. I know everyone wants everything to be perfect. Everyone wants to see this CJ Stroud effort of 470 yards and 5 touchdowns. And, if you don't see that, then I saw after the first touchdown to Amari Cooper, where it hit off the dude's head, and then Amari kind of grabbed it for a touchdown. They cut to that fan. I don't know if you saw this, but they cut to a fan, and he's just sitting there, and he's looking like somebody just shot his dog, and he's shaking his head. And he's wearing Browns gear. You're a Browns fan. Your team just scored a touchdown, and you're upset. Give me a break. Go root for somebody else, please. I mean, some Browns fans are really, really making me kind of sick at just how they're reacting to a team that's 5-3, and knowing what we've gone through the last 10 years, and you're not happy with a 5-3 team. Give me a freaking break.
Well, if you listen to 923 in the morning, Brian.
Yeah. Sometimes I haven't the last couple of days because I've been, sitting at home. But
so they were talking about that guy. And what it was.
I rewound it and I showed my wife. I'm like, look at this a-hole. He's wearing Browns gear. Now he was with somebody who was wearing Cardinals gear, so maybe he wasn't a true Browns fan. But I'm like, dude, you got front row seats. It's a beautiful day, and your team just scored a touchdown, and you're not happy. Get a life.
Well, hey, he cheered. Okay, so they came out. He did cheer the touchdown, but when they panned over to him, his explanation was he's had those seats since '99. He just die hard, right up front and everything else. He said his explanation was watching that throw and it hit the helmet. If you watch behind, the safety was breaking. If it didn't hit that guy in the helmet, that would have been a pick and probably a pick 6 the other way, because the safety was breaking on that pass because the safety read it. But since it hit that guy in the helmet and popped up, he said, he goes, normally we don't win those. He goes, I was just in shock that it finally went our way, and it just went, what? So
not good enough. Not good enough for me. You see your team score a touchdown. Your first thought shouldn't be what might have happened. Oh, hey, we scored a touchdown, but our quarterback could have got sacked and he could have got stripped and they could have returned it for a touchdown. It's just your mentality as a Browns fan and where your expectations are at. If you want to enjoy the ride, you're going to be happy for every single touchdown. But if your expectations are, we have to see 2020 Deshaun Watson, and if we don't, I'm going to be a miserable person, then I'm sorry. You're probably going to be a miserable person.
Chris said, he goes, I immediately thought fantasy football, and he was going against Amari Cooper. That's what a lot of people thought.
That would have been an
Or
acceptable one, but still, you don't. I've gone again. I got killed by Nick Chubb plenty of times. I lost this week because I was going against the Browns defense. They scored 33 points. Wasn't bummed about it at all.
Yeah, I just can't make everybody happy, Bri.
I know. It was. I'm sure the nation was laughing at us because look at these curmudgeon Browns fans, and anybody who's listening out there, he doesn't represent everybody.
Now, I did last week tease that there's Browns questions on the rise, and I finally broke down and told Bri those Browns questions, and I want everybody to tune in next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Tune in next week, and I'll ask Bri those questions, and we'll see what he has to say, and chime in the comments and see what you guys got to say about it, because it has to deal with the entire Browns organization, one as a whole, and then as parts and pieces. So tune in. Bri thought it was it was a good question, which I thought nobody's really asked it. So we'll see what happens. Bri, let's get into our players of the week, Bri. And you know something? We're taking defense off the board because the whole defense just deserves the game ball. As a whole, I mean, you had 7 sacks, Bri. What was it? 7 sacks. Delpit was leader at 8 tackles. Dalvin Tomlinson had 2.5 sacks. The defense just played unreal. And granted, yes, you were going against a rookie quarterback and a very beat up offensive line and a shitty team. But to keep them, I mean, Brian, the one that I start laughing at, the team stats over here, you have 58 total yards, 17 yards passing, Brian, 17 yards passing, 41 rushing. Your leading rusher was your quarterback with Toon, was your leading rusher. They averaged 1.2 yards a game. They were 1 for 12 on third downs. They had 48 total plays. Out of those 48, 7 were sacks, 9 punts, and then they had a fumble lost and 2 interceptions thrown to Taki and Denzel Ward. So, and then you beat them on time possession. Brian, that's not like a little bit dominant. That's like a varsity team playing a 7th grade junior high team. They just put the woodshed to him, and Jim Schwartz just went after him. And from what I was told and what I heard through the grapevine is he was pissed after that Seattle game and ripped into everybody after that Seattle game. So this is kind of a little rebuttal of being back home and everything else. So, Brian, I mean, are you okay with just giving the whole defense the player of the week? Or do you got one? Or do you want?
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned Tomlinson. He was the guy that stood out to me, but I'll also bring out Shelby Harris because we haven't heard his name that much this year, and that's kind of a good thing because Maurice Hurst has stepped up his game, and he's kind of been that number 2 defensive tackle. And to throw some flowers his way, his interception in the Seattle game was unbelievable. Yeah, extremely athletic play, especially for a 300-pound man. But Shelby Harris was the guy who I was going to single out on defense just because, I thought he had a hell of a game. He had the sack, the forced fumble, but like you said, you could give it to probably 9 or 10 guys. One guy maybe not being Myles Garrett because he didn't have a spectacular stat line, really. I think he had 1 sack and 1 tackle. But obviously he's a stud, so he's affecting every single play. But as far as offense goes, the only 2 people you could even think about giving it to really is Deshaun and Amari Cooper. And so I would give it to Amari just based on what he did. 5 catches on 5 targets and 139 yards, which is pretty spectacular. So yeah, I guess I'll give it to Amari.
No, I give it to Amari, and then I'm going to throw in a special little player of the week. Corey Bojorquez, 7 punts, averaged almost 60 yards a punt, and nailed 2 inside the 20. just flipping the script like that and pinning them back a couple of times changed that whole game, Bri. It really did. And, I never thought that. I mean, we've had some great punters here with, the one Hodges, the trivia that I got, Zastity. We've had some great punters here, but man, to have almost 60-yard average, that's crazy, dude. Like, he's putting the boot to it.
That was it a 73-yarder that he had that pinned him down to the 1?
Yeah.
That was maybe the most perfect punt I think I've ever seen as a sports fan, because not only was it 73 yards, it came to a stop at the 1-yard line. Like, it's not like we downed it at the 1. It stopped right at the 1-yard line, right before the goal line. Like, I was
yelling at the player. I'm like, don't you put your foot over top that goal line. You stay on this side of the ball. Uh-oh, did we lose Bri? I think we might have lost Bri for a little bit. Oh, nope. I hear him coming back. Now he might have to reload. But no, it was a great game overall with everybody. We needed this win right before the Baltimore game, which we'll dive into the Baltimore game. I mean, I'll go first. Baltimore is going to be a tough matchup. The one thing that Baltimore has got, they're playing straight up elite football right now. Their defense is playing great, and their offense is just on a different level. Brad, did we lose your camera?
No,
there he is.
Got it. We're back.
All right. Talk about Baltimore now, Bri. Going up against probably the top NFL team right now. They're playing great. They're coming off of a big win. They're going to be at home. The one thing that this defense has had problems with is mobile quarterbacks, Bri. Every game that we played that we have been kind of suspect is a mobile quarterback, whether it be Gardner Minshew moving out on us a couple times. It just, we got to figure this out, Bri. We got to beat Baltimore. And then we got the Steelers afterwards. The three things I'm looking forward to the Baltimore game, Bri, is if your defensive line can keep this up. Your defense has got to travel this game. Don't know what your offense is going to do and what you're going to muster, but your defense has to play elite again, and not like a little bit elite, historic elite at this game. Next, Hopkins. Keep making kicks, brother. Your kicks, you got to go toe for toe against one of the greats, and probably NFL, well, not probably, an NFL Hall of Famer and probably one of the greatest kickers ever in the NFL. You're going to go toe-to-toe with that guy. Just keep going. And then finally, Coach Stefanski, if he is 100% healthy, it is time to rev up that Ferrari. Let that arm cannon loose and let him go. If Deshaun is 100% healthy, you got to let him play. And let him play fast. Try to catch this defense off kilt, because their defensive line with Clowney can stop the run. They can't stop the pass. So you're going to have to be creative, and you're going to do some things to get them off their spot. So those are my three takeaways for this game. Brian, what about you?
Yeah, again, it's going to be a tall task. It's your second huge test in the last month. And the first huge test was against San Francisco, and it was a game that nobody thought we could win, and we found a way to pull it out with a backup third-string quarterback. So you kind of have to have that same mentality going into this game. You can't really rest on your laurels. The defense can't be reading the press clippings. 58 yards allowed, first shutout in how many years. They have to get focused, and they have to think about the game against Baltimore that they basically got embarrassed, where Baltimore put up 28 points without really trying a whole lot in the second half. So first takeaway is with the defense, and the defense getting their revenge. And it's a tall task. Baltimore is the hottest team in the NFL. They are home. But sometimes, after a dominant performance like they had this past week, they might be getting a little fat and happy, and knowing what they did against the Browns in the first game, they might not see it as much of a test. But John Harbaugh is a professional coach, and he will get these guys ready. So, got to stop the run. With Lamar Jackson being the most mobile quarterback in the league, and these running backs that they just seem to find off the scrap heap. They had some dude go for 130 as like an undrafted rookie or something like that, and nobody's ever heard of him before. So that run game, that's the first thing that you have to take care of. You can't let them just gash you with these long runs, because that loosens everything up. That loosens up Lamar scrambling. His third down scrambles. He's like Mahomes. If he gets a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, and he picks up 12 or 13, that's just a dagger to your defense's heart. So we got to limit those on defense. And then on offense, we have to be efficient. We have to be efficient, and we cannot turn the ball over. This past game against the Cardinals was the first game all year where we did not turn the ball over at all, and we dominated it. So can't be giving them too many extra possessions. And so we just have to have Deshaun not play dumb, not take big hits, and just get the completions when they give it to you. And then my third takeaway is just this running game. We have to do better as a rushing attack. Sounds like we're going to have James Hudson for a couple weeks here, and DeJuan Jones is a little banged up too. So this Baltimore defense, they're no joke. They're top 10, maybe top 5 unit. So it's not going to be easy. So we have to find a way to run the ball and loosen up their defense a little bit, to give Deshaun some space to chuck it downfield, or at least make plays with his feet. You can't be averaging 2.5 yards carry again, because probably won't end well for you if you do that.
No, it won't end well at all. Brian, what are you predicting for this game? Because I'm torn. I want the fan in me to just be a fan and just ball out, but I'm also kind of stuck where you're going against a really good team, Brian, at their place.
Yeah, I'm trying to be optimistic, but Browns have to show me. And I know we didn't have Deshaun in the first game, so that's kind of why we got our doors blown off. But the defense is going to have to prove to me that they can stop Lamar Jackson, and I think they can. They've done it in the past, so it's not impossible. But yeah, till I see it, I'll kind of lean towards the Ravens being at home. I'll give a score. I'll give 30-20 Baltimore.
Man, Bri. You know something? I need a signature win this season, Bri. They need a signature win this season. Pull the upset. I'm going to go Browns 27, Baltimore 24.
Nice.
With a Hopkins walk-off.
Wow. Wouldn't that be something?
How about, hey, let's put it this way. If I get close to this, Bri, a Hopkins 52-yarder walk-off.
52, all right.
And we'll see what happens. I got to make it.
You certainly can do it.
Got to gain some ground on you, Bri.
I hope you do. I really do.
I think this defense, if they could shut down Mark Andrews, Bri, and stuff the run like they're built right now, I think they can do it, Bri. I really do. Now, I think it'll be a close game. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think it'll be back and forth. I don't see Baltimore running it away from us. But, damn, it's away, Justin. We're playing at Baltimore. We'll see what happens.
And don't forget, Lamar Jackson stayed remarkably pretty healthy this year. And I know a couple years ago we knocked him out of the game. He had those intestinal issues or whatever he wants to call them on the Monday Night Football game. So we're a physical defense. We got to hit them. We got to hit them, and we got to make him feel it. And if you can do that, if he has to exit the game for a drive or two or three, that could swing the whole game. So yeah, hit him, keep hitting him, and he'll feel it come the fourth quarter. You just gotta, again, start strong and finish strong. That's what the defense needs to do, because if they cross midfield, they're going to have a chance at a kick. So you don't want to let them do that, and that means they only have to get 25 yards after the kickoff to have a chance at it. So the defense is going to have to bring their A game.
And I got to thank LA for the thumbs up. So, and thank you for the like on our show, LA. I appreciate it. And Justin has either 28-30 or 30-32 Cleveland. Wow, he's picking Cleveland this one, which is
interesting. We're getting through to him. Look, I'm the negative one in the group.
Wow. Well, Bri, we're getting here towards the end of the show, and you know what it's time for? It's time for your legal ham to the face fantasy football update. As we're all coughing and hacking up. This week, we are starting to thin out the herd, Bri. Here we go. Starting down at the bottom, you have Joe Bear, always next year, beating Team Big Rod 147 to 145.02. What a matchup that was. You had the Portage County Prostitutes beating up on Team Big Meat 122 to 86. You have the Honky Cat beating up on Big Bri 119 to 115. And Bri, I saw the score. She had a person not even score any points and still beat you.
Justin Herbert screwed me.
I know.
7 points.
He's
your quarterback. Your quarterback should not be your least scoring person on your team, but he was. And so when that happens, it's not a good thing usually. All
right. Then you have Harold Kheel against the Dog Pound Boys, beating them up 120 to 69. Not good for Craig Foster and the Dog Pound Boys. Woo! Then you got the Span Clan beating up Hot Dog is a Taco. Say it loud. 131 to 91. And then Elijah Moorhead beat up on Phil McCracken 110 to 93.
Wow.
So here is your leaderboard right now at 8-1. You got the Honky Cat. Harold Kheel is in at 7-2. 6-3 is the Phil McCracken. And then we have a bunch at 5-4. Big Bri, always next year. Span Clam, Elijah Moorhead. We have one at 4-5, which is the Portage County Prostitutes. 2 at 3-6. Dog Pound Boys and Team Big Meat. Justin, Hot Dog is a Taco coming in at 2-7, and Team Big Rod at 1-8. All right, so those are your scores right there, and nobody has clinched anything yet, Bri. It has been crazy. Bri couldn't get through a wet paper bag. Oh wow, here we go.
What does that mean?
How
does that mean?
Just wow. All right, Bri, you ready to get in some Halloween, buddy?
Yep, let's do it.
And it's really bad. He did still beat me. He's 2-7, and one of his wins were me. God,
oh man,
damn it!
Yeah.
All right, let's get into Fat Boy Tuesday.
And now it's time for Fat Boy Tuesday.
Fat Boy Tuesday. We didn't really comment on Halloween or anything like that. So we're going to talk a little Halloween food, Brian. I do have to admit, I got to ask you, because Halloween for me was kind of scarce this year. It wasn't a lot of kids out.
Huh.
You guys notice that where you're at?
No, it's kind of been dwindling a little bit every single year. It seems like the first year we moved into the house, we ran out of candy, and I think I went and got more, and then I think we ran out of that too. So maybe the kids are just getting older in the neighborhood we're in. Maybe it's a weather dependent thing, but yeah, it seemed like the last couple years we've bought maybe 3-4 bags of candy, and we had about a bag left at the end of the night. So yeah, a little scarce.
I mean, it's a bonus for you though, right?
Not when you've been sitting at home with COVID for 4 days. You just every time I go past that bowl. I'm like, oh, well, okay, they're just tiny little pieces. I'll grab 3 of them.
Just
Not good.
Just why don't you just bring in the bowl? I could see you now in the
Yeah.
recliner with the bowl on your stomach, and just one at a time. Just look at that, honey.
I had to clean up all my wrappers on my coffee table before my wife came home.
Let's see
It
here.
was starting to get excessive.
Justin said he gave out 4 bags of candy, but he gives out massive handfuls, even filled up 2 buckets on the third house. Wow. I got to come. I miss the days of like the full-size candy bars. I mean, you found the neighborhood that gave you full-size candy bars. You were at that neighborhood all the time.
I can still remember the one house in my neighborhood growing up that would give them out. Yeah, absolutely.
So the boys made out like bandits this year, Bri, and not like a little bit like bandits. Man, oh man, did they just? And I mean, it was all sorts of different candy and suckers and everything. Like Hope and I even got suckers this year. One of the kids was handing out candy, and they're like, "Oh, here, have a sucker." I'm like, "All right, thank you," and kind of went along. But we just did, we kind of go up and down our street because we got a really long street. But in every house, the boys came back with 2 huge bowls of candy. But our neighbor said that they didn't really have that many kids stop by. So I was kind of curious because it just seems like every year it gets a little different with, trick-or-treaters. Because, I mean, as kids, back in my day when we used to do it, you get a pillowcase and you just walk up and down the street and, but I mean, that was the thing to do when you're around their age. Because my boys are 10. You'd love to go trick-or-treating.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. I even saw some, trying to think how late I was going trick-or-treating. I'm pretty sure I was doing it into middle school, but there's kids out there, they don't even have costumes on and they just come up and trick-or-treat. Thank you for the candy. It's like, hey, you don't want to be a jerk and call them out, but hey, a little effort, please.
Wow.
I mean, at what point do you draw the line? You have a 21-year-old that rolls up with a t-shirt and some jeans on and says, "Hey, give me some of your candy." I mean, do you just let them take a handful? What do you do?
I'm not gonna lie. I dressed up as a pumpkin. I was hoping somebody would give me candy.
Anybody handing out booze?
I haven't seen that guy. I miss that guy.
Oh man, that's what we did it one year, and pretty sure my wife handed it out to like a 16-year-old girl.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, yep, yeah, we're not doing that again. We don't need the cops coming around. We don't need to be checking IDs or nothing.
No, God, I miss that guy. He hasn't been out. I don't know if he's not feeling well or not wanting to do trick or treat or what, but man, that guy was amazing. And for those people that don't know, there's a gentleman. I'm not saying where exactly he lives at, but he is the nicest gentleman I have ever met. Gives the kids decent candy, and then has a bottle of Jose behind his back and pours the adults shots as they walk along with the kids. So everybody gets a treat while they're going through. So, God, I miss that guy, Bri. But we did our Hope and I just enjoyed the night out with the kids. I mean, they're big enough now that you kind of just let them run and just have fun and everything else. And you were asking what they were for Halloween. They were chess pieces, Bri. My kids are nerds, and they were chess pieces. So Alexander was a rook, and Charlie was a king.
Oh man, Charlie got to be a king, and Alexander had to settle for a rook.
Well, no, that's what he wanted to be.
It's not fair.
It was either a rook or a knight that he wanted to be, but he wanted to be a rook. So the entire time, like they even went to school in these outfits, Brian. I'm laughing my ass off because have you played chess before?
Oh, absolutely.
So you know how to castle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they were doing that in school. Alexander Center goes, "Yo, bro, it's time to castle." And then next thing you know, they start moving. Charlie gets on the other side. We're castled. I'm like, oh my God.
Kind of funny, kind of cool.
I was like, and I'm just sitting here. I'm like, God, I got nerds. I'm all right with it. I love them, but I got nerds.
Embrace it. So were these homemade outfits, or did they order them online?
So we got them online. We got them from Amazon, and they had the chess T-shirt, like the chessboard T-shirt, and then it was like a hat that they would pull over their head, and it would stand up. So they were just like they dressed in all black and just went out, and they were chess pieces.
Do they have every single piece? Like, can you be a pawn? Can you
Oh
be
yeah, you
a
could be
bishop?
whatever. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So you can
interesting.
kind
Do
of
they have
pick.
white and black ones?
We can't get into that on this show, Bri.
Wow, really?
Well,
Huh.
it's not that they. Yeah, I mean, all right, we're going to be honest on this show. Can't really be a white king because people look at that little hood on top of your head and think something else. Like, let's be honest, right?
Oh, that's terrible.
But I mean, that's what it was.
I don't know. I don't know what these hoods look like. You're saying.
Hold on.
Are they pointy? Is what you're telling me?
Hold on. We'll bring here. You keep talking. You talk about your candy and stuff, and like.
Oh, jeez. I'm the one candy that I kind of forgot of that my mother-in-law brought over and was at the bottom of the bowl. We had just a couple of them. Was the Take 5 bars. I don't know if you've had those in a while, but vastly underrated. Reese's has bought them out, I guess. So they make the Take 5 bars with the peanuts, the peanut butter, caramel, pretzels, and I can't remember what makes them 5 milk chocolates. 4. I don't know what the 5th one is, but yeah, fastly climbing up my my candy bar rankings. They've been good. A few I've had.
All right, I'm going to load up the pictures here, Bri. The great thing is I could do this. As you can see, the fatty cam is now into our area. Let me load up the boys' pictures. So, well, might as well go with that one. So this is my boys on Halloween. Now, Bri, there we go. So that's the chess pieces.
Okay, so I got the king and the rook.
So there's
Okay,
the king, and then there's the rook.
gotcha.
That's them castled, obviously. So that's what they wore. So you can understand why you can't have a white king hat because either A, you're going to be the Pope.
Right. That's what see, you were taking it to a dark place. I was trying to be positive about it, but
well, I'm not taking it. I'm just
it's not your fault. I'm sure a lot of people are looking to get offended nowadays, so there'd be plenty of people offended by that.
I get that, and that's why they went with that one. So, I mean, the boys had a blast. I mean, they got a crap ton of candy. I was so proud of them, and people were and they were moving. What's really funny is like when they would walk up to the house, Alex was moving like a rook. So he would go forward and then come sideways, and then go forward and then come sideways, and they're like, "What's he doing?" I'm like, "He's a rook. I'm sorry, he's a rook. That's how they move."
I love the commitment. That is a major commitment. That's awesome.
So yeah, and people here, Bri, I don't know how they do it in your neighborhood, but people are doing like bonfires out in their driveway.
That's what we did.
They got the trunks open, everything else. People are partying. Like I was like, dang, I should hang out with you guys.
Well, Bailey's and the coffee and just sipping it on the cold night. And that's what I was doing. Hanging out. Eating sloppy joes.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
You do Bailey's. I do Jameson. Same thing. It's an Irish coffee.
Didn't have any Jameson. Got some Bailey's. We had my mom and my mother-in-law over. So it was didn't want to get too crazy with it.
Well, Brian, let's get into our top 3. And we decided that our top 3 will be the funniest or favorite Halloween costumes that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
First off, Bri, number 3 for me is as we were walking, a mother of some very young children had storks. And it would, Bri, I'm not joking. It was the cutest thing I ever seen because they had like the really bright socks. So you were not losing your kids whatsoever. But it had like the bright orange socks. They had like a hoodie that was like a stork hoodie. And then they had like a bright orange face on it. So no matter what, you were not losing those kids whatsoever. And those kids were just running around everywhere. So that was my number 3. Number 2, Bri, was Junior ended up being a first mate for his daughter. His daughter wanted to be a pirate, and Junior was the first mate. and he was on an inflatable dinosaur with an eye patch and a bandana on. So just imagine
Nice.
that. Tibbs, what's going on, buddy? And then number one, Bri, and it's Bri, it's not political. I don't want people to take it as political.
Oh boy.
But the best
Here
one
we
that
go.
I saw was a kid dressed up as Joe Biden with two of his buddies at Secret Service. And he's walking around trying to trick or treat with people, just walking into like trash cans. He goes, trick or treat. They're like, sir, over here, sir. Come on, sir. Come on over here. And they're just keep moving him around. Funniest thing I ever seen. Like he's just running into people. Oh, trick or treat, sir. That's a telephone pole. Come on over here, sir. Over here. Great, Bri. It was amazing.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Anytime, not just the fact that it's a Joe Biden thing, but anytime you have a costume that you have to commit to, and it takes a little more acting out, rather than just throwing on a shirt and pants and saying trick or treat. If you have a costume that you commit to, I'm always in favor of that. So, big fan. My number 3, I'll go quick. My number 3. I didn't see it on my street, but it would have been cool if I did. Connor Stallions. I saw Connor Stallions on the internet. Thought it was pretty good. Number 2, my nephew was Pikachu. So love to see that. And then my number 1, it was a very proud moment. My cousin, who not a huge sports fan, and has lived towards Southern Ohio, lives now currently towards Hocking Hills. Saw a picture that her 5-6-year-old son was dressed up as Nick Chubb. So
awesome.
that made me very proud because, like I said, I don't think either his mom or his dad are giant Browns fans. Obviously, growing up in Northeast Ohio, they probably were. But so that made me proud. Knowing that generation of Browns fans is coming up. So love to see it. Uh-oh.
Guys. And it is unmuted now. There we go. I'm back.
Gotcha. Okay.
Let's get to our trivia answer, Brian. You asked me who was the leading receiver over 40?
Who has the most receiving yards in the NFL after turning 40? It's gettable. It's gettable. Don't overthink it.
Is he a Heisman Trophy winner?
Nope.
Jerry Rice.
Got it.
It was
Ding,
either
ding,
Jerry
ding.
Rice. I know him and Tim Brown were like, I think, didn't Tim Brown play until he was like 55?
Nope. Must have been 38 or 39.
All right. So it was, Jerry Rice, and you said you had a little fun piece on the side.
So Jerry Rice, after turning 40, this is a stat that will go to show you he's without a doubt the best wide receiver of all time. And, I feel like we're kind of getting there with LeBron, how late into his career, he's still putting up numbers. So Jerry Rice is number 1. He had something like 2,100 yards after turning 40. So pretty good, couple seasons after turning 40. There are only 2 other players. Sorry about that. There are only 2 other players to ever catch a pass after turning 40.
Terrell Owens?
Nope.
Damn.
I'll give you $20 if you can get one of them. I mean, unless you've seen this question.
I have not seen that question. Is one of them a Brown?
Nope. So here's a hint. Both of these players are not wide receivers.
Nick Foles.
Nope. No,
That's
Nick Foles.
bullshit.
I don't think Nick Foles is 40 yet. He's probably still like 34.
All right. Tom Brady.
Yeah, there's one of them.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Thanks, Justin, for that one. Who's the other one?
Brett Favre.
Shut up. Oh, my God.
So Tom Brady caught one pass and Brett Favre caught one pass. So the only person to ever really get any receiving yards after turning 40 is Jerry Rice. The other two are quarterbacks.
Jesus God.
I thought that was a
Unreal.
fun one. Yeah, I had to double check it, but yeah, two quarterbacks are the only other two people to ever catch a pass after turning 40. So I was trying to think of who might be close now. I couldn't really think of anybody.
Cooper Cup.
No, I don't think he's 30 yet. I don't know. I mean,
Odell Beckham.
Kelsey. Yeah, I guess Odell's probably 30, maybe 31. Kelsey's 33, 34. But yeah, for some reason, receivers don't.
Zach Ertz. He's got to be 50, right?
He's probably Ertz. When did he come in? He's probably 30. I would say about Kelsey. 33, 34. It's still a ways away. You know, it's wild.
All right, Brian. Great trivia question, buddy. I always appreciate it. And that's for City Dogs Cleveland with Miss Ohio. Please get a hold of City Dogs. Help them out. If you want to donate, get a hold of them. Get a hold of us. We'll help you out. All right, Brian. We're here at the end of the show. We want to thank our troops and first responders for everything you guys do. We want to thank, today was the day to vote. Thank you for everybody who voted today. Using your patriotic right. Brian's hacking up a lung like I've been hacking up the entire time. If you saw me go out of camera, that's because I was dying on this side, just hacking up everything. So on that note, Brian, God bless them.
Yep, God bless you. God bless America.
All right, I am that fat guy. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please click that like and subscribe button and follow. Catch us next week, next Tuesday at 7 p.m. As I asked Brian the big question about the Browns that nobody wants to ask. See you guys next week.